Hi, my name's Charlie Levenson. I'm a writer, digital strategist, and spokesperson, and I'm going to kick it off with a presentation called Oh Shit, How to Survive a Crisis and Not Destroy Your Brand. This is important because whether you're a company, a corporation, or a person, bad things can happen, and if you respond to them incorrectly, you can destroy your brand. It's going to happen. The manure is going to hit the air locomotion device. And if you're a company, it might take the form of a product. One of your products, like Tylenol capsules or the Ford Pinto, could cause you some trouble, especially if you handle it wrong. One of your personnel might find themselves in a mugshot, really not good. Or somebody, it doesn't have to be you directly. It could be your industry or competitor. The Gulf oil spill hurt a lot of oil companies, not just BP, and Fukushima affected all the nuclear companies, not just the ones in Japan. If you're a personal brand, it might be you, again in a mugshot, or it might be your family or your entourage that drags you down into trouble that you might have to deal with. It might be a skeleton in your closet that gets dug up. You know, these things happen, and you need to be ready to deal with them when they do. How do you know if it's happening? You're monitoring social media all the time. But another way you can do it is you can have internal mechanisms. Your internal customer relationship management will notice small things that haven't yet become a big crisis and can make you aware of them before they become big. How you're going to plan for this? You're going to have your team in place, you're going to have your plan in place, and you're going to have your communication lines established and practiced ahead of time. You're not going to wait until the crisis to do all this. If you do, you're going to be in big trouble. One thing to keep in mind is whether it's a mountain or a molehill. If it's a mountain, it's going to put your incident response team into work immediately. However, if it's a molehill, you want to let your local team, your day-to-day people handle it so that it doesn't become a mountain. You want your team to deal with it so it doesn't get out of hand. Regional issues can also be a factor. A local issue can sometimes be controlled before it gets to be a gigantic crisis. A regional issue is almost always going to get caught by the media. National and international issues are almost immediately a crisis because of their scope and their magnitude. And that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is that we live in a 24/7, 365 world. This is no longer Monday to Friday. Things happen on the weekends. It doesn't happen just during your daytime hours. A very good example of this is a case called the Motrin Moms. I won't go into all the detail of it, but basically there was a campaign in place from September, but Friday night a blogger starts to talk about it. Saturday morning a video blogger does a video compilation of the tweets, and by Monday morning Johnson & Johnson is pulling a multi-million-dollar campaign and apologizing to the public. These things happen over the weekend. The three key considerations are transparency, honesty, and immediacy. That's what's going to drive your response to a crisis. If you have transparency, honesty, and immediacy, you have a chance of doing it right. That said, who's going to be on the team that's going to do this? Your CEO and their team, your spokesperson or people and their staff, your in-house counsel, possibly outside counsel. Also, you might need experts as part of this process, internal experts and external experts. How this process is going to work. You're going to bring the full team together. You're going to tell your spokesperson everything. They have to know that. You're going to have the highest possible people available all the time and those appropriate external experts available as well. Now, your CEO is spokesperson. This is a balancing act. If your CEO is going to be out on a yacht when something goes wrong, they're not necessarily the right spokesperson. On the other hand, if they're somewhat illicit and on drugs, they might also not be the right person. So this is what you have to decide who the spokespersons could be. It's a very important role with a lot of responsibilities. Spokesperson has to respond immediately. The sooner the better. They have to answer every question. If they have to say, I don't know, I'll get back to you, they have to follow up. And they can never stonewall because the media is going to be like bulldogs. They're not going to let you. They have to frequently schedule updates as often as possible. More information is better than less. They have to understand the 24-hour news cycle and the demands of it, and they have to control the side stories. Because if you don't control those side stories, the media will, and that's going to kill you. Where things can go wrong. An unwillingness to invest in crisis management. Oh, we don't want to spend money, we're never going to use it. Or ego, believing that admitting a mistake is somehow a weakness. Living inside a bubble where you don't see it as a problem, even though the public does. Now, places where crisis management absolutely won't help you. If you've committed a criminal act, it's not going to help. If your spokesperson is your lawyer and they're saying, say no comment, it's not going to help. There is a piece of advice for this. If you can't take responsibility, at least take some kind of action, which can be seen. One last thought. Sometimes it's not your crisis, and you can still take advantage of it. Anheuser-Busch normally puts beer in their cans. During a major crisis, they put water in the cans and they ship it out with their brand on it. It's a positive way of handling it. Other sites will become a portal to collect donations for tragedies, and that's how they work. Anyway, my name's Charlie Levenson. If you have any follow-up questions, catch me at intermission or afterwards or from the website. Thank you very much.